The Galactic Council chamber hummed with the low vibrations of 1,000 different vocal cords, breathing apparatus, and translation devices. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the human delegation podium, her hands clasped behind her back as the ridicule washed over her like a tide of condescension. "Primitive combustion engines," chittered the Zephyrian representative, its crystalline exoskeleton catching the chamber's artificial light. "How quaint that they still burn fossil fuels to achieve orbit." A chorus of what could generously be called laughter erupted from the assembled aliens. The hegemony's ambassador, a towering figure wreathed in energy fields, projected its amusement in cascading colors across its translucent form. "Perhaps we should donate some antimatter converters to help these children catch up to civilized technology." Sarah's jaw tightened, but she maintained her diplomatic composure. This was exactly what Command had warned her about. Humanity had been part of the Galactic Council for barely 5 years, and their reputation as technological primitives had preceded them across the stars. Never mind that humans had independently developed faster than light travel. Never mind that they had survived 3 separate extinction events on their homeworld. To the Council, humanity was nothing more than a curiosity, a species that had somehow stumbled into space travel despite their laughably outdated methods. "Distinguished members of the Council," Sarah began, her voice cutting through the ambient noise with practiced authority. "The United Earth Federation appreciates your concerns about our technological development. However, we must respectfully decline your offers of technological assistance." The Archon of the Stellar Dominion leaned forward on its throne-like chair, its 6 eyes blinking in sequence. "You decline? Child species, your warships still use projectile weapons. Your power systems are barely more efficient than a dying star. What possible reason could you have for refusing advancement?" Sarah smiled, an expression that somehow made several of the nearer aliens shift uncomfortably in their seats. "Because, honored Archon, we have our own solutions to interstellar conflict. Solutions that we believe will prove adequate should the need arise." The chamber erupted in fresh waves of laughter. The Quan Collective's hive mind representative spoke in perfect unison through dozens of mouths. "Adequate? Your largest vessels barely qualify as system defense platforms by our standards. The Dominion's dreadnoughts could atomize your entire fleet without breaking formation." "Could they?" Sarah asked, her voice carrying just enough skepticism to cut through the noise. The laughter began to die down as delegates sensed a shift in the human's demeanor. Admiral Hayes's voice crackled through Sarah's neural implant, a technology that several council species had also dismissed as crude biological augmentation. The transmission was encrypted with quantum keys that even the hegemony's best code breakers couldn't crack, another piece of primitive human technology. "Ambassador, the Titan is in position. Stealth systems are holding, awaiting your signal." Sarah's smile widened. "Honored delegates, the United Earth Federation would like to extend an invitation to observe a demonstration of human engineering. Please direct your attention to the viewing ports." The massive transparasteel windows along the chamber's outer wall had shown nothing but empty space and distant stars for the duration of the session. Several delegates moved to the windows with expressions ranging from mild curiosity to outright dismissment. "There's nothing there, human," growled the Krex war chief, his reptilian features twisted in disdain. "Are you attempting to waste more of our time with—" The space outside the windows shimmered. Reality seemed to fold in on itself as something vast began to materialize from apparent nothingness. The assembled delegates fell silent as the UES Titan uncloaked, its massive bulk blotting out stars as it took position directly in front of the council station. The ship was a nightmare of human engineering philosophy made manifest. Where alien vessels were elegant curves and flowing lines designed for efficiency and aesthetics, the Titan was pure function over form. Its angular, aggressive silhouette bristled with weapon systems that had never appeared in any of humanity's technology reports to the Council. Massive spinal railguns ran the length of its hull, their magnetic field generators creating visible distortions in space-time. Point defense arrays tracked with mechanical precision, each one capable of shredding smaller vessels with streams of hypervelocity projectiles. But it was the ship's size that truly struck fear into the assembled representatives. The Titan measured over 4 kilometers from bow to stern, making it larger than most Council space stations. Its hull was a patchwork of armor plating and adaptive camouflage systems, giving it the appearance of something that had been built for war and nothing else. "Holy void," whispered the hegemony ambassador, its energy fields flickering with what could only be described as shock. "That's impossible. Our scans showed no vessel of that magnitude in the system." Sarah's voice carried clearly through the stunned silence. "The UES Titan is the first of 12 dreadnoughts currently under construction in classified shipyards throughout human space. Its stealth capabilities are based on principles that we've decided to keep proprietary. Its weapon systems utilize what we call kinetic energy transfer optimization, though you might know it better as really big guns that shoot really fast." The Archon's 6 eyes were now focused entirely on the massive vessel floating outside. "Your propulsion systems. Those aren't standard fusion drives." "Correct. The Titan is powered by a controlled microsingularity contained within a gravitational manipulation field. We call it the Hawking Drive, named after one of our physicists. It provides effectively unlimited power while also serving as our primary weapon system." Sarah paused, letting that sink in. "Yes, honored Archon, our newest ships are powered by artificial black holes." The chamber had become a tomb of silence. Even the ambient noise of life support systems seemed muted as the reality of what they were seeing sank in. The Quan Collective finally found its collective voice. "The energy requirements alone. The containment systems. How did you solve the gravitational cascade problem?" "Trial and error," Sarah replied, with a shrug that was purely human in its casualness. "We lost 3 prototype vessels and their crews before we got it right. But humans have always been willing to pay steep prices for technological advancement." Admiral Hayes's voice crackled through her implant again. "Ambassador, we're reading massive power buildups from several Council vessels. Recommend we demonstrate the Titan's defensive capabilities." Sarah nodded subtly. "Computer, activate Demonstration Protocol 7. The Titan's hull began to glow with an eerie blue light as its defensive systems came online. Energy shields that could deflect antimatter warheads wrapped around the vessel like a second skin. Point defense systems tracked every piece of debris, larger than a grain of sand within a 1,000,000-kilometer radius. But the true demonstration came when the ship's main weapon systems activated. The massive spinal railguns began to charge, their magnetic coils creating visible distortions in the fabric of space-time itself. Energy readings that appeared on every sensor array in the chamber showed power levels that defied belief. "Distinguished delegates," Sarah announced, her voice cutting through the shocked silence. The United Earth Federation would like to formally request a review of our current military classification within the Council hierarchy. As you can see, we may have been somewhat modest in our previous technology assessments. The Archon slowly settled back into its throne, its 6 eyes never leaving the Dreadnought. When it finally spoke, its voice carried a note of respect that had been entirely absent before. Ambassador Chen, the Stellar Dominion believes that humanity's military capabilities may indeed require reassessment. Sarah allowed herself one final smile as she watched the most powerful beings in the galaxy grapple with the reality that the primitive humans had just redefined the balance of power in the galaxy. Sometimes, she reflected, it was better to be underestimated. After all, humans had learned long ago that the best weapon was the one your enemy never saw coming.